Hi everyone, welcome back to our weekly budget with me. Basically, we budget out every single paycheck, so this is a budget by paycheck video. We're going to be budgeting out our last paycheck of September, which is September 25th. My husband and I both get paid on Fridays, every single Friday, so we budget out every single week. That's why I said it was a weekly budget plan. So I encourage you guys not only to do a monthly budget, but to budget out every single paycheck. That way you can see where the cash flow is going. So whether that's if you get paid once a month, if you get paid every other week or 2 weeks out of the month, or you get paid every week like we do. So we're going to jump on the Excel sheet. I have already kind of done everything ahead of time. I'm jumping on a little bit late, but I'm going to go over the numbers with you and kind of show you how the month closed out, or how the month will be closing out. All right, so this is a zero-based budget. Basically, we're going to tell every single dollar where to go, whether that's for a bill, for savings, for something fun, whatever it is. We're just going to make sure we're telling every dollar where to go. We try to do this on paper, or in my case on my Excel sheet. I did make this in Excel. You can purchase it on Etsy if you would like to use this budget form. But basically, we want to tell it where to go on paper before the money hits the bank account. That way we already have our plan and we can follow that plan. Now, if you guys have been watching over the last couple weeks, some things do change even after we've planned ahead. I check our pay stubs. We have access to our pay stubs on Thursday, so I check those and I write down what might have changed. So whether we got paid more or less than we expected, whether the taxes that came out were more or less than we expected, those type of things. And I make sure I update that, and then I adjust the other numbers accordingly. The other thing that might change is maybe we had an unexpected expense. Like last week I shared with you, Ricky broke his phone, so we had to purchase a new phone that we were not expecting. This week, we actually, I had to kind of get caught up on some of the grocery stuff. So we signed up for a meal delivery kit service through Home Chef, so every week we get charged like $60. And I realized I was kind of a week behind because that just gets charged onto our credit card, and then I've been paying it. So we're kind of getting caught back up on that. So you're going to see some of these numbers change for this week as well. We were paid a little bit more. In general, the way I work my budget every single week is I log on to our Discover credit card and I see what we owe. So I have a column here that says card, so that's what that is. That's my Discover It card, and I'll just go through and see what do we owe or what came out on that, and I'll line it up with the appropriate category. So for instance, 4640 were groceries. I changed this to all food. For September, I went ahead and just put anything we spent money on food, whether it was groceries, a meal delivery service, or even eating out. I just put it all under food for September just because I wasn't dividing it. Normally I would divide out what we spent on eating out versus food. This month I kind of just kept it all as one. Moving forward, I'll probably go back to dividing it out. Same thing here. We still have $54 worth of gas we need to pay for. And that's pretty much, we have basically $100 is what we currently owe on the credit card, so we want to make sure we are being able to pay that off. I like to pay it off every single week. You could pay it off at the end of the month. It's kind of up to you. As long as you're paying off the balance in full every month, you will not have to pay the credit card interest. We use this credit card so we can earn cash back. If you're following Dave Ramsey, you would not use credit cards at all. So if you notice, we're not quite following Dave Ramsey to the T anymore. So that's the first thing I do, and then I'll update the current week. Basically, Ricky's base pay was $880. If you remember last week, he did get a raise, so that's nice. And then the overtime, he actually had $594 worth of overtime, where last week I had estimated I had estimated 264. I also mentioned that it seemed like he was missing some hours, and sure enough, that was paid on the 25th. And on the weekends, those are paid almost like 2 weeks out. So that's why I kind of had a miscalculation there, but it was paid, so that's good. So that was a little higher than we anticipated. Myself, I'm scheduled for 20 hours a week, but it's a flex schedule. So they could have us leave early by 1 hour or stay late by 1 hour. On the 18th, we stayed late almost every day, and I picked up an extra 4 hours on a Sunday, whereas the 25th, we pretty much only did 3 hours almost every day. I did offer to stay late a couple days, so I tried to get as close to my 20 hours as I could. I was only able to get like 18.9 something, so I was so close to having 19 hours, but that's what basically mine was, $283.95 for the week. And then my self-employment was $54.43. The bank interest, I estimated it was going to be around $8. It actually was only $7.88. Over the last year or so, our interest rate on our savings account has gradually been dropping and dropping and dropping. We are banking with Ally Bank. It's an online bank, and we started banking with them specifically because they had a 2.1% interest rate that you could earn on your savings account when we signed up. Now it's all the way down to like 0.80, so it's still better than 0.1, but they're kind of, it's starting to fall, so what we're earning is falling, but that's okay. It's just for our emergency fund and future bills and stuff anyway, so it's not supposed to be made for like an investment return. But basically this is all of our income before taxes for the week. And then Ricky, his 401k comes out of his paycheck automatically, so 8% of his regular pay and his overtime, so 117 was added to our to his 401k. And then if you see here, last week and this week, I actually ended up having to put some money back into savings. There was a mix-up with my first paycheck from Amazon. They sent me a paper check, and then they gave me direct deposit. So I had already deposited the paper check, and then I had direct deposit, so I had to email them and say, hey, I got a double payment. So of course they had to retract one of the payments, and so I got charged a fee through my bank. It's just, yeah. So anyways, it wasn't $27.40, wasn't the fee, it was something else. But basically, I think I used $20 out of the savings. I had to pay that back as well. So that's kind of what this is, just kind of paying back that was just a mix-up, but I wanted to make sure that was fixed. Oh yeah, we're closing out the month. So basically, let's just look at what we originally budgeted. So for the income for the month, we originally budgeted $6,028, and we actually ended up having $6,773. So we actually made about 700 and something more than we anticipated. So that's not bad, not a bad month. Because we made more money, because Ricky made more money, then obviously he invested more because it's based on a percent. So instead of only investing $341, he was able to do $388. For those who've watched last week, I mentioned that Amazon does offer a 401k even for the seasonal part-time employees right away, so I did sign up for it. Amazon matches 50 cents for every dollar that you invest up to 4%. So I just went ahead and set my investments at 4%. They do have an option of doing a traditional 401k where you don't pay taxes on it now, and then you'll pay taxes on it later once you start taking the money out. Or they have a Roth option where you pay taxes now and then you invest that 4%. So I went ahead with the Roth option. They said it will take 1 or 2 paychecks for that to take effect, so we'll probably see that happening in October. So join me later this week. We're going to budget out for October. But I did go ahead and put that, I did set that up. Now for giving, basically $5 comes out of Ricky's paycheck every single week automatically, so that's what that was for this week. And then necessities, basically these were the taxes that come out, our health insurance, long-term disability, family life insurance. This is what comes out of my husband's paycheck automatically. I always keep track of this stuff because I want to make sure that we are keeping more of our paycheck now and not overpaying in taxes, so we're not going to get a huge refund. We are married and we have 2 children, so we do get some deductions or write-offs, if you will, or credits. I think it's the child tax credit and things like that. So by making sure we do the right withholdings now, we're not going to get a huge amount back. We just get to keep more of our paycheck now. So I encourage you guys to keep track of how much you're paying in taxes. You can go on the IRS website and make sure you have the right amount of withholding. Same thing, let's say you owe money every year, well then you can adjust your withholdings to take more out every paycheck. That way you don't owe money at the end of the year as well. So it works in both ways. Out of this pay, like I said, normally I've been doing $200 a week for groceries. I had to do some catch up on some stuff, and we stocked up. There's some items that we purchase that last us like 1 or 2 months at a time, so we actually ended up purchasing some of those. So instead of $200, we actually ended up doing $330, so a little higher than anticipated. Overall, we originally budgeted $800, and we were only going to do groceries and the meal service. We did end up eating out. I just can't seem to get away from eating out, you guys. I don't know. I just can't do it. So we ended up spending $1,024 on food as a whole. That's 15% of our overall income, so it's still within a reasonable range. They say that people tend to spend anywhere from 10 to 15% of their income on food. So it's a little on the high end for us, but I still feel okay. At least it wasn't like 20% of our income or something like that. And then moving down for the week, we did have an electric bill. So we have solar. We had solar put on last year, and our solar payment is $81 a month. So far this year, because of COVID, because of, I was laid off, and then Ricky was on unpaid furlough for about a month and a half. The girls have been home from school. So we've been using a lot more energy at the house than we typically do. So we do have $99.52 for our electric bill. And if you see here on the first paycheck, this $137 was actually for last month's bill that we did not catch. We did not catch this. So we had to pay for it out of this month. So this $137 would have been paid for out of the last month. So that was another kind of little mix-up we had this month. So we're just trying to get back on track of what's going on here. And then we did have to add $3.79 to our water sewer trash bill. It was actually $58.79 instead of the $55. So I went ahead and added that. The color coding black means that it's money that's already gone, it's spent, we don't see it or we're not going to see it. Orange means this is currently in the bank account, whether that's in our that's basically like our necessities account. And the blue means it's in the savings account. So these are just sitting here waiting. These are the bills that are due for October. So they're kind of just sitting there waiting. The mortgage is ready to come out on the 1st. And then we went ahead and the gas. This was another one. We weren't sure what gas was going to look like because I started working, so we did have to put $128 from this paycheck to finish paying for our gas for the rest of the month. So for the whole month, we actually ended up spending $318.64 on gas. I had budgeted the $240. That's usually around what Ricky spends on his own, so obviously I knew it was going to be higher with me working. So what we're going to do for October is we'll take this total, we'll divide it between the weeks, and then next month is actually a 5-week paycheck, so we're going to have to add 5 weeks worth of gas instead of 4. So we'll have to see how that ends up playing out. Ricky ended up spending $85.56. This was between something he needed for work, and then he got like a belt, and he got like a carrying case thing for his phone. This way he doesn't keep messing up his phone all the time. And then because of the mix-up, a few mix-ups from last week, we did have the $200 for the extra principal payment on the mortgage, but that got mixed up, so we did have to use $28.30 out of this week's paycheck. This is black because I've already logged on and made that payment. Our monthly mortgage payment comes out automatically on the 1st, and then when I make an extra principal payment, I'll just log on and make that payment, and that just gets taken out of my account directly. So I've already made that payment of the extra $200. And then I was able to put $711 into our vacation savings. So over the next couple months, kind of finishing out this year, we're just trying to save up for our second vacation of next year. So we have 2 vacations planned for next year. One, we already have the money put aside, and the second one, we're building that up. And then as soon as either December of this year or January of next year hits, we're going to try to throw the majority of my paycheck all at Ricky's truck. So we'll see how that goes. I'm also going to be making a video about our debt payoff journey, just kind of giving you, we're going to kind of do an introduction on where we're starting and what the plan is, and then you guys can follow along with that. We'll update you with that every month as well. So that's what the week looked like for the 25th. Basically, it's kind of closing out the month. Technically, October, our first paycheck in October will be on the 2nd, so technically we'll have like 1 or 2 days of October that will come from this amount. However, hopefully we shouldn't spend any more money this week. We've already did grocery shopping for the week. We've already filled up both vehicles with gas for the week, so we should be good unless we end up stopping at fast food. That's my thing right now. Got to get out of that habit. You can see some of the taxes, like the federal tax was a little lower than I thought, whereas the rest of the taxes were higher because we made more money. Groceries was higher than we thought. Personal care was higher than we thought. We weren't expecting to spend any. The cell phone, Ricky had to buy a cell phone, so that wasn't expected. Again, we had to pay last month's electric and basically this month's electric bill for last month's usage, and then we have to pay this month's usage for October 1st. So that was higher than we thought it was going to be. The car and the truck payment, that's what it is. Gas was higher. So we did make more money because I started working, but then we spent more money. So let's hope October is better overall. Yeah, so that's the paycheck for the 25th, kind of ending out the month of September. Like I mentioned, join me later this week and we'll be budgeting out October. And further along in the month, we're going to go ahead and start our debt-free journey updates with you guys so you can see real numbers, how we're able to pay them down, and kind of the plan on how we hope to become 100% debt-free, including the house, in 5 years. So stay tuned for those. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.